I do not have a passion to break people. There have been numerous situations when people simply would argue with me out of a sudden, whether I knew them or not. And through whatever means, reason, my intuition always seemed to give me the exact quotes that those people would need, and then suddenly they would simply shut up. Typically, some of these conversations may end up with me shutting them down with one or two quotes. It's all about listening to people and feeling what they are going through. Because, as I said in previous videos, everyone speaks their own truth. It's just the truth may not be found within their words, but one can deduct it from the vibration of one's words. Because in the end, everything is energy. But I'm not interested in the superficial aspect of that. Everything may be energy, but more important than this is that everything is information. When you think about information and when you look at it and you can feel it and even experience it, that's when one reaches a level where they can use a certain part of themselves to guide people towards their own breaking. Yes, it's not breaking them specifically. Yes, that's not what I do. Because breaking someone can be done through different means, typically through repeated torture, and that may be a physical, emotional, psychological, mental, maybe, or a combination of these. Yes? And then repetitively taken through that, you can lead someone to simply submitting to someone else's will. But leading someone towards their own breaking is a completely different thing. This is even an art if one can comprehend the power of it. Because this is not something that you do for the other person. This is something that, let's say, you make manifest, yes, with the other person being the the desirer, yes, the one who, see, look at it as kind of a transaction. Someone comes to you, they pay you with their energy, they grant you a certain cost, which in many situations, if not most, it's some of their bad energy, and you give them something good in return, which breaks them a bit. Don't look at this breaking as some kind of punishment. I'm not talking here about psychologically breaking people. But see, everyone is waking up, and I have noticed this that I am more or less a catalyst of such situations. A lot of people ended up mesmerized by my voice, or they simply listen to my videos, or they just want to talk with me randomly without no necessary reason. They just feel mesmerized by me explaining them things. I used to get, back in the times, asked a lot of random things, and I didn't know why people would want to ask that. So the point is, when it's about breaking people, see, every cycle means you're repeating something. Yes, something repeats. And when that cycle is broken, one simply gains access to a higher level. See, back when you were a child, you had the same ideas, the same principles, the same points of view, and you would repeat those constantly because that was your level of awareness. In time, certain things happened. The people that had an influence over you kind of lost their influence or simply moved on, or, well, some maybe unfortunately or fortunately passed away. So their influence was no longer on you. You developed yourself, you learned how to speak, and, well, through some of your own experiences in life. You read, you listened, and, well, you accumulated knowledge. You went through certain things, and through time, you can look in different stages of your life that you have changed your perceptions, and your awareness of life is much more different. The video games that you would like when you were young no longer feel the same nowadays. You still love the feels that you would feel back in the times, but still somehow you cannot entirely replicate them. Yes, because you no longer have that awareness. Same with books that you used to like back in the times, or movies, or anything else. So the point is, a cycle is broken sooner or later, because this is what awareness is all about. Gaining newer levels of awareness, yes? Imagine yourself in a video game, said in short. In a video game, you do the same thing. You do quests, you farm, you do this and that, and you gain a different level. A different level allows you a new skill, and therefore you become a bit better. And then the same cycle repeats. Yes, you do stuff, but you also most likely may use the new skill. It's not obligatory though, but so on and so forth. And you increase in level. Video games, well, are a good example, but they are a finite product. Yes, there is not infinite development like you can do in this cosmos in reality. Well, it's not infinite, but it is extremely lengthy, and one can do at their own pace at all times. Now, see, a lot of people suffer the most mainly because of their inner struggles. Their inner struggles usually go because of excessive judgment or excessive expectations, especially from a young age. Yes? Yes. And therefore, every time we do something and we feel that it's not going to be to the like of others, we obviously self doubt. We engage in all sorts of self talk and, you know, look at all the possible variables and analyze and reanalyze, and we all end up suffering more or less of this thing called perfectionism. Yes? So, until you break that cycle, yes, you're gonna be stuck in that loop again and again. Maybe there were times in your life when those, you can also call them obsessions, would save you, yes, would preserve the mental and emotional and psychological balance that you craved for, yes, when you are surrounded by toxic people or high expectations of you. So in times, those times changed, but you still remain stuck in the loops, yes. So when one transcends those loops, obviously you look at those like some bad joke of your life, but you would struggle back in the times. And right now in the present, after you have transcended those cycles, honestly, would you have been this being that you are right now if you have not broken that cycle? Yes. So these conflicts in between sides of oneself only exist because the cycle is not broken. Yes? It's like someone creates so much tension within themselves. Yes? They argue with themselves all the time. They have all these fractured parts of themselves. They argue constantly. And just because nothing bad happens to them in reality, they have all the time to do that. Yes? Suddenly they fall sick, they go to a medic, the medic tells them they have cancer, which will become terminal. You will see how calm that person becomes almost in a few days. It's like no more conflicts in many people's cases, not all, obviously. Some people would simply not give up their inner struggles, irrespective of anything. But the point is, with saner people, yes, people who have a certain respect for themselves, but they did not find the means necessary to break own cycles of them. You will hear maybe the medic was contacted by their family, yes, and the family wanted to help in a way less orthodox, let's say. And the family said, trick them into thinking that they have terminal cancer or, some kind of your diseases that you probably know way better than us. And the person is told, see, you've got this serious disease, it can become even worse. You're not going to feel much about it, but it can become worse. It may be that you've got like 6, 8 to a year, like 6 months, 8 months to live. You will see how calm that person becomes. It's simply no longer a problem. You will see so many people instantly almost transcend their cycles, not entirely, but they suddenly no longer are as important once someone is faced with their own mortality. Yes. So the simple point about these inner quarrels that people have, mainly these come because of a certitude stemmed from ignorance. Yes. Once people become ignorant enough, they lose track of time. They think that they are here to live forever, and they become complacent with their suffering, with those inner struggles. Yes. And they all go just because there's nothing bad, like really bad, happening in their life. Because we all go through certain struggles, through challenges, and the such. The definition of life is change. Yes? A process that constantly undergoes change. That's how one may define life in the easiest way possible. Because no one needs hyper complex definitions like DNA structures and all sorts of things. Life is just an ongoing process, yes? And within it, change is the only constant. This is the only definition that you need to know about life. So, in this thing, when people get used to the idea or they invent the idea that nothing bad can happen to them for religious purposes or out of religious, fake religious purposes or distorted cultural opinions, Some people, or well, in time, many people end up thinking that nothing bad can happen to them and they are gonna be here forever until they meet a dead person. Yes? Once they go to a burial and they see that dead body, a lot of people freak out to the realization that one day they will be on that table as well. Maybe not that particular table, but on such a table as well. Yes, they are gonna be that lifeless body over there because life is a contract. When it's done, it's done. Now, if we are to think a bit about things, see, this is what I am unconsciously or consciously at times, but usually unconsciously doing, because my intuition is guiding me to simply help people break their own cycles. I'm not interested in breaking them emotionally or mentally. That is not part of my karma. It is not part of my design. Although everyone can do that. And the more empathic you are, the more damage you can cause because you have access to how emotions function within you. So they function the same way within others. But, well, there are slight differences, obviously, but they are not hard to observe. So the point about life is I am not interested in breaking people. Okay, there were a few people who asked me whether I have this passion for control because I seem at times to guide the conversation towards something. I'm always doing that unconsciously because uh, my intuition guides me when it feels that someone needs or would be ready for something. A lot of people will simply break, they would lash out, but the seeds have been planted. Yes, it is something within me which I called abiogenesis from a certain video that I saw on YouTube. And I got inspired by that name. Yes, I just put a bit of seeds of change within others when they speak to me because I'm, let's say, partly an occult being. And my aura, let's say, has a certain influence on people. It took me a long time to realize, even longer to accept, but things are the way they are, and I'm here to share my wisdom to whoever is willing to listen. Hopefully, this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care. Enjoy life. This being said, Ferenc Jan Bohort signing out.